So this is race 24 in the Wyfold, the Rex Boat Club against Upper Thames Rowing Club. This one also delayed from earlier in the day.
Yes, on the left of our picture, that's King's Chester alumni, the Rex Boat Club. I think they had a sickness of one of their athletes earlier in the day, so they had the race postponed until later. And on the right of our picture, we're looking at Upper Thames Rowing Club. This is their home stretch of water. We actually passed their boathouse about halfway down the course. Umpire there active with the flag already, just making sure that the crews stay apart. The vertical flag just indicating both crews need to watch out and steer away from each other. And now they get past the end of the island, and we pick them up in our catamaran shot to see that they're neck and neck. Here's the Upper Thames crew closest to us with the two stroke side oars close to the booms, actually pretty close to the booms. You wouldn't want to be much further over this way than that, Greg.
No, you certainly wouldn't. And what a great race we've got here to end our day's racing on day one at Henley Royal Regatta. The crew from Upper Thames just looking to make a small correction and creep back into the course. The crew from Rex, I think, have come off their station, so the umpire could certainly be busy here if those blades get any closer.
Yeah, so this is a crew that's come together for Henley on the far side, the Rex crew, and so far they've got an early advantage, maybe a canvas lead over Upper Thames Rowing Club, and we're looking at quite a good race unfolding in front of us. It's the final race of the day. It's probably the latest race we've had on the first day of Henley, coming up to 8 o'clock in the evening here in the UK.
As we move down the course, and we can see they're still looking pretty tight here, coming through, not quite at halfway yet. There's still plenty of rowing left in this one. The crew's pretty much side by side.
Yeah, this
coming down past the barrier.
Yeah, sorry, Greg. This is something where you would really want to be in a bit more of an advantageous position by this point in the race. So we're very, very late in the day. What a tough day to have waited for, both for the Upper Thames crew, who were ready to race earlier, and for the Rex crew, who were disrupted by a bit of sickness earlier in the day. And they really want to be in a position where they're not having to go stroke for stroke. So they're alongside each other. It's quite intense. You can see the athletes looking across at each other. There was the bowman Mark Jinks in the Upper Thames A crew, just looking across over his shoulder. They desperately want to make sure they're in contact still with some overlap with the Rex crew.
Well, I think this is a fantastic race. This is what it's all about, pretty much stroke for stroke, the boats side by side with each other. This is the moments when, in the Rex crew, we've got Jack Webber in the bow seat, and he lists one of his highlights of his rowing career as rowing through Ship Lake up the enclosures. And that's the sort of thing that you remember for the rest of your life. And these crews still very, very tight.
Yeah, a little bit of steering there on the Rex crew. I think they almost touched the booms there just by the booth on the right-hand side, so they've corrected the steering to come over, and that may have taken a little bit of speed off them, and they really are neck and neck, stroke for stroke. This is a race that could go all the way. The final race of the days. Upper Thames also need to watch their steering here. The crews are both quite wide apart. It's not what you want to be doing, and they're correcting there. And in the Upper Thames crew, stroke James Hansen, just pushing on again. It looks like they made some progress. They may have come through now. Looks like a length almost, according to the board they're passing there. And that's a really good performance through the middle of the course from the Upper Thames crew.
Well, Upper Thames now are coming down past their rowing club. That's where it's situated on the course, so they're going to know this so well. They're going to get a roar from their home crowd. They will have stayed behind to watch this crew racing now.
James Hansen, I mentioned that stroke, have reached the finals of the Wyfold Challenge Cup last year, losing to Grasshopper, and so he's got form in this event, and he's going to have the determination to make sure he sticks the first win on the board this week for this campaign in the Wyfolds this year.
Well, the Rex crew now, we said they're King's Chester alumni. They really need to dig deep now, think about the history of that school, and look to come back as they feel the pressure now from the Upper Thames crew.
Yeah, Mark Jinks just looks across again, this time from a position of leading the opposition. And the Rex crew are throwing in a further push, I think, as Pat Hanratty in the stroke seat, not sure what to make of the Upper Thames crew, and trying to get back on terms, trying to get that overlap, trying to maintain that overlap as they approach the enclosures.
And the Rex boat now really riding through some waves from a boat that's moving on down the course. That's not going to help either crew's cause.
Yeah, it can be a bit disruptive to the rhythm to cope with the weight. Looks like both boats have done so reasonably well. Upper Thames, I would say, look like they're rowing nice and strong. Nice solid rhythm there, a little bit more experience, 28 years and 26 years old at stroke and 3, James and Thomas Hole in the 3 seat, who's making his third attempt at Henley, racing the Thames Cup previously in 2 years in succession for Upper Thames. Also somebody who learnt to row at Oxford. And looking overhead, you can see the length of the Upper Thames crew rowing nice long strokes trying to push away, but you can also see how Rex won't give up. They won't give in, and they're pushing on and trying to stay as close as they can.
Well, there's some experience in this Rex crew. They want to just stay away from those booms. I think they're just about in the right position. Alex Slater in the 2-seat has twice raced at the Coupe de la Jeunesse, winning silver medals, and he will want to hang in there and really try to move here in front of the enclosures.
Yeah, so Jack Webber, Alejandro Slater, George Middlehurst and Pat Hanratty there in the Rex crew pushing. This is their last moment. Have a go. Can they come back to closer terms with Upper Thames? Upper Thames on their water, their home water, determined after last year's defeat in the Wyfolds, determined to make it through, and they are pushing on. They're not giving an inch as they reach the closing couple of hundred metres.
Yeah, and the Rex crew now, the steering's just starting to go. They're just waving from side to side a little bit. Probably the blade pressures might not be quite consistent. And then when we see this Upper Thames crew, they're just in a little bit more control, a little bit more calmness. And they know the river so well. They'll know they're coming down. They're past that progress board. They've got a few strokes now coming down towards the line. As we see Mark Jinks take that little look to his right, you know the finish line is coming up.
What a great first day of racing, Henley Regatta 2018.
Absolutely, and it's closed out there by that win for Upper Thames over Rex Boat Club in the Wyfold Challenge Cup.